everyone, welcome back to Team 1D, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the best pod sites for diabetics and also kind of giving my experience with how I arrange my pod sites and keep track of them. So starting off with the best pod site for diabetics, in my opinion, this is the belly, specifically like the lower bellies. I like this spot the most because I think this area has a little bit more fat compared to like your upper belly, because my upper belly has more muscle than like my lower belly. And I think for most people this is the case. So this makes it easier for the insulin absorption, and I feel like here your body uses the insulin with the most effectiveness. Moving on to the second the best site, I would say it's probably either the arms, upper lower arms on both arms, and also the upper belly. I think the arms and the belly have a little bit less fat and a little bit it's a little bit worse for insulin absorption compared to the lower belly, but I still feel like both of them are all good. Even though there's a little bit more muscle in, for example, the upper belly compared to the lower belly, I still feel like it's a really good site, and the insulin absorption here is usually really good. So, and for me, even there's like two sites I can put on my upper belly. I can put like one in the right, one on the left, one below that, and one below that. So yeah, there's a lot of sites you can do here, and also in each arm I can do two sites as well. So that kind of opens up a lot of sites. Ranking the worst site out of the sites I use, which I don't use like the upper butt or other sites like that. But I do use the leg, the upper leg and lower leg, like the thigh. I would say this is the worst out of the sites I use though, just because the insulin absorption for me specifically, maybe because there's like muscle on my legs, or maybe because there's not enough like that, but it's the least out of all the sites, and usually I see higher blood sugar and I see a worse pod function, especially on day 3 compared to the belly, especially the lower belly compared to the thigh. So I try to avoid the thigh, and I try to use it every like 30 to 60 days, like 60 days instead of 30 days maybe, because I do see that here scar tissue is formed more easily compared to the arms, and also I see a reduced insulin absorption, and I do see some more I do see a little bit of scarring that happens after even 30 days. So I do change it every 60 days just because of that. So yeah, the healing in the legs is a bit worse, and the insulin absorption is a bit worse compared to some other sites. So I would recommend using the site like less than the other ones. So now moving on to my method of kind of keeping track of all these sites. I use Google Sheets actually, where I put like each site. I use like upper left belly, lower left belly, upper right arm, lower left arm, whatever, like all the sites I use, thighs, and I put the dates of where I used them. So I say, oh, I used it it lasted from the 12th of September to the 15th of September. That's 3 days, whatever. And then I go to the next site. And then, so I have like a sheets tracker kind of every single site. And then it shows me how many days I've used the site for, like since I've last used the site. So for example, if a site I haven't used for 30 days, I'll be like, oh, let me use that site real quick. Because I haven't used it for 30 days. Or if I haven't used it for like 20 days, I'll be like, oh, let me wait a little bit more before using that site. So this is really good for deciding what the next site to use. And if you haven't understood it, just from me speaking right now, I will put a link in the description to my pod site tracker that I use on Google Sheets. So you guys can just use that and yeah, make a copy of it or use it for yourself. And yeah, that's about it about me ranking the best sites to use and how I kind of organize all my sites.